Hey, hello and welcome to lesson number 3, using the mixer. So really quickly I want to show you a handy little thing that'll help you out here. We're going to trim this area. You can see right now we've got a really long clip here, but we only want to operate on like this little section here. And so to simplify things, we're going to crop our timeline to this area right here. And we do that by going up here to Composition, Trim Comp to Work Area, and you'll see that boom, now that whole thing is trimmed, and now we're only working on that one space that we had highlighted. Okay, so the mixer is over here. You can see that I've got several gears already laid down onto adjustment layers here. I've got Simply Warmer, Steel Dirt, Density, Spectral Enhancer 1, Cinegamma, and then a couple of power windows, one here on her face and one over here on the sun coming through the trees, and then we have our footage. And so our mixer is right now set up to adjust these layers right through here, but not the face. So right now we can control all these with the mixer, and I'll demo that real quick. So you can see Simply Warmer is warming up the footage. If we slide this down, that cools the footage off or warms it up. Steel Dirt is our main gear. You know, you saw that in the last tutorial, but right now it's sort of dirtying up our footage and giving it some grunge and grime and a little bit of dirt. The Density is dropping our blacks and creating a little bit more of a dense feel. Right now it's set at 86. We could drop it down. Say you want to back that off a little bit. You want, a little more detail in your shadows. Okay. But let's put that back up because I like it right there. Our Spectral Enhancer is making our colors pop. We can make them really pop, or we can drop them back down, go kind of desaturated. It's up to you. And then our Cinegamma is usually at about 100. This is what's changing our gamma setting on our video from video to something that's more like film. Obviously this is what it would look like without it. Maybe you want a flatter look with your footage, but obviously I want something a little more filmic. And then this power window here, and this slider is controlling the intensity of how much we're reducing that bright spot. We can reduce it all the way, but that's going to, you can see right here that excuse me, our whites are no longer white. They've actually been limited to something that's less than white, so we want to put that back about there. And then of course we can go to our info pane and we can see that that's pretty close to white. 1,000 would be white, and we're at about 7,000, so we're just under, but to the eye it looks white. But I don't have a control for this power window that I have on her face, and if you want to A/B it, let's turn the mask off. You can turn masks off, at least so that you don't see this outline, by clicking this button here called Toggle Mask and Shape Path Visibility. And there, the mask is still there, but I don't see the outline of it. And if I want to A/B this, I can turn this mask off, and you'll see that her face in the light naturally is a little bit dimmer. I wanted to bring her eyes out a little bit, so I put a power window on her face, and then I tracked it, and you can see the tracking data. We'll cover tracking in another tutorial, but you can see all the tracking data down here for both of these masks, and I'll turn these back on so you can see. Here are the null objects. This is all the tracking data for those masks. And the masks for, we turned that off, didn't we? The mask for the trees and these are both attached, so that if I were to actually reduce this down to, let's say, 1/4 so we can scrub it, you can see that both of these masks are tracked to our footage so that they stay in place. And the same with the face. But I don't have a control on how intense this power window is. So what I'm going to go back to full. I want to create one. Well, so I've already got this wired, so I'm going to, now the normal way you do this is you go over here to set up your mixer, and you grab the mixer, oops, it's in utility, grab the mixer and just drag it over onto an adjustment layer like this one. I put mine at the top so I can get to it easily. Remember that is the main control for everything below it. and but I want to add another slider. But how do I do that? Well, I right click here in the frame. I'm going to go to expression controls, and I'm going to add a slider control. I'm going to rename this slider control power window face. And the way that you rename something, and it doesn't matter if you want to rename it down here, I'm going to hit enter or return on the keypad with the layer selected, and that will highlight it, and I can type in whatever I want. So that's how. So I renamed this power window face. So what I want to do now, follow closely here, is I want to take the opacity level, and well, this has already been done. It's already tied to. You can see it's already tied to power window trees, which I don't want. I don't want these controlled simultaneously. So I'm going to delete this expression, and now you see my opacity went from red back to yellow, which is its default, and now it's at 100%. So if I want to tie that in, what I want to do is I want to hold down Option or Alt on a PC and click the opacity stopwatch, and you'll see that it automatically started to enter an expression here. I just want to click away, and then I'm going to select my mixer to identify where I want to put it, and then I'm going to grab this little spiral here. It's called a pick whip. I'm going to take the pick whip and I'm going to assign it to the power window slider and click away. And now you can see it, because the slider value is set to 0, my power window went away. Now if I want to mix that back up, I just grab this and slide it, or I can reveal, undo the twirly, uncollapse it, and I can see my slider, and I can mix that power window however I want. If I wanted 100%, put it there. If I want to bring it down, make it a little dimmer. And then the other thing you can do with that really quick is right now I have a value set to -800, which we covered, I think, in one of the pre-release demos. I said that normally when I do power windows, I set it in 32-bit color space. I set it to -0.08. Maybe I want a more intense power window. Maybe I want something that really brightens up her face. So we're going to -0.24, and you can see let's reduce our mask. You can see that's really bringing her face out. But that's quite intense. So let's go to the mixer and see what happens if we take that up to 100%. We're getting a really bright spot on her face. So now you have much more flexibility. You can bring that back down to like 50% would be almost the level where it was originally before we changed anything. And then maybe we just want to mix it down, so it just gives us a slight kiss of light on her face. And that's the mixer, and that's how when you drag your mixer over. In fact, let's go ahead and delete this mixer, all these mixer settings, and start from scratch. I'm going to hit Command A to select all and hit delete. So I'm going to select all of these adjustment layers or gears. With them all selected, I'm going to tap the T key to reveal their opacities, and you can see they're all set to 100. Let's go to trees, tap T. Okay. If your opacities are yellow, that means they're being controlled simply here by adjusting, the opacities, which is our normal way of doing things. But this creates clutter. You can see how with this expanded, my entire timeline is taken up. And if you've got a lot of layers, if you're dealing with more than just one shot, if you're dealing with like an entire scene, this can get kind of messy very quickly. So you want to tie them all to a mixer. So I'm going to grab the mixer gear. I'm going to drag it over here. You see there's 12 of them. You can add more. You can Command C or Control C with those selected and copy them, and then click away down here and then paste and get more. So you can add as many or as few as you like. Let's undo that. I only need 7 sliders, so I'm going to take 8 through 12 and delete them. And then I'm going to name these. I'm going to select it, hit the return key or enter, and our first one, as we can see down here, is called Simply Warmer. So I'm going to type in Simply Warmer. Steel Dirt. We'll just call it steel for the sake of time. density. What's this one? Spectral, then gamma, and then power window face. Oops, forgot to hit enter. Power window face, and enter, and power window trees. Okay, and then I'm going to grab our, and you can't do these all at once, which is kind of a shame. I wish Adobe would change that. I wish I could select this and then option click here, and have every single one of these become an expression or controlled by expressions, but it doesn't work that way. So I have to select them individually. Option click, click away, or you can just kind of option click all the way down. Okay, and now they're all ready. And then you just grab the pick whip and assign it to the appropriate mixer slider. So I'm going to assign simply warmer to simply warmer. Click away. Assign assign steel dirt to steel. Click away. Density to density. Click away. When you click away, it's a good idea to click your mixer. Which one is this? This is gamma. Select the mixer and pick whip our trees. So there, our slider is configured. You can see what I did. I clicked away here, so I didn't have to worry about that mix-up happening. So now all of our gears are rigged. We can go ahead and click down here, select all, and then collapse this by clicking that one. They all collapse. So now we have a nice clean timeline. We go to our mixer, everything's set to 0, so it's not affecting our image at all. So now I have the camera tool selected. Let's go back to this. So now let's see what happens. Let's grab our gamma, and oh, you can only go to 100 and then it'll stop actually. If you go here, you can go higher than 100. If you select all and then undo, and now they're all defaulted to 100. Okay, so now our gamma's set to 105, but we can drop that down and set it back to 100, like so. Let's grab our spectral enhancer. It's quite intense. Bring the density down, maybe 70. To dirty it up a little bit, right there, and then warm it up. And our trees. So this is without any power windows. And our trees are really bright. Maybe you want that look, or maybe you just want to tone it down a little bit. Just tone down that hot spot. And then let's fix the exposure on her face and bring it out a little bit. There you are, done. You render. The last thing I want to cover here is, think of, if you're coming from a node-based thing, think of these layers as nodes, but they're kind of linear nodes. I mean, one node plugs into the other, so it performs a function, plugs into the next one, which performs a function, and plugs into the next one, which performs a function. And the only flexibility that you lose versus nodes is that you can't plug nodes in laterally. But what you can do is, with these gears, let's say I wanted to add different looks to my density. Maybe I wanted to add, maybe a minus blue. I can do things laterally that way by adding it there, and that's going to suck out some of the blue. See how warm that made the image? All the blue's gone from the highlight, just a little bit of blue in her hair. And so you can plug nodes in laterally that way, just by adding them to your to a node at a specific point. So if you think of these layers as nodes, and think of adding gears to other gears within a layer as connecting nodes laterally, then there you have it. So you can use ColorGear almost as a node-based type renderer. So it's as simple or as complex as you want it to be. And you'll see that with the next tutorial, which is on Color Fist. So until next time, happy grading.